Today we're going to bake chocolate cupcakes with cocoa buttercream icing. They are absolutely delicious and they're gluten-free, of course. And you're going to meet the most fabulous and talented young lady. Her name is Michaela, and she's going to tell us all about her challenges with pots. Well, come on in and bake with me. Welcome, Michaela. I am so glad you are in our brand new kitchen.
Thank you for having me. It is beautiful.
It's beautiful. I love it. I'm so excited, and I'm so glad you guys are in our brand new kitchen too. Today we are going to bake chocolate cupcakes.
Love chocolate.
Then you better, because we have chocolate frosting to go on top of our chocolate cupcakes.
You can never go wrong with chocolate.
Never. It's delicious. It's dairy-free. It's gluten-free. You're going to love it. Should we get ready?
Yes.
All right. Ready, set, here we go. We have 2 cups of gluten-free flour. So I'm going to put in all the dry ingredients, and then I'll probably have you put in the wet ingredients. Sound good? All right. So we have 2 cups of gluten-free flour that's going in. We have 1.5 cups of organic cane sugar, 3/4 cup of cocoa, and here I have mixed just a little bit. We have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. That's so that you can get your cupcakes to rise nice and fluffy. And then we have a teaspoon of salt. All right, so I'm going to stir this up a little bit. And while I do that, Michaela, do you want to talk a little bit about why I invited you to be here with me today?
So I am here today because I have a condition called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
What?
It's a mouthful. And
it is a mouthful. What does that mean?
it means that I don't get enough blood flow to my brain because my heart can't pump it from the pooling in my feet and in my legs and in my in my limbs and fingers. So it'll cause me to easily pass out. It'll make me feel faint and lightheaded. I get shakiness, dizziness. I get really cold.
Now wait a second. You're how old?
12.
You're 12 years old and you have to deal with all this?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work for you? Like, how do you cope with this?
Well, there's a lot.
Yeah.
So one thing I do when I'm at home and I just have a lot of spare time is I like to read. I've been reading like The Hunger Games and stuff.
Love those books. Very good.
And what I do when I'm at school is I'll go get my earbuds from my backpack and I'll listen to music.
So you sort of just zone out, meditate a little bit.
You know, find a way to calm down.
Aw, that seems like a lot to deal with at your age, but you seem like you really have a good handle on it.
Yeah.
And so did people ask you about it, or do you tell people?
Yeah, a lot of times I have to check my blood pressure once a day at least in the clinic. So a lot of people will walk up to me and say, why do you need to do that? Are you sick? Are you okay? And so I'll explain to them what it is. It's a blood pressure cuff. I'll explain to them why I have to do it and what it means to check your blood pressure and what the importance of it is.
Right, what it means is if it's off, like what you have to do. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's impressive. You're a pretty impressive 12-year-old there. So you're good at a lot of things. Are you good at putting wet ingredients into dry ingredients?
I would say I can be decent.
You can be decent. The best thing about these cupcakes, I love 1 bowl mixture. So we're only gonna dirty 1 bowl because I hate to do dishes, don't you? All right, so we're gonna throw in our wet ingredients. So grab 2 eggs for me. Thank you. Makes it super easy. We have 1/2 cup of vegetable oil right there. Thank you. There we go. We have 1 cup of, what I used was almond milk. You can use any dairy-free milk of your choice, but if you don't have an issue with dairy, go ahead and use the real thing. Awesome. And then, this is super important actually. I'm gonna do the vanilla first. Listen guys, baking is a science. You have to measure very, very carefully. Don't ever do what I just did. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And then we're gonna have 3/4 cup of boiling hot water. When you're making any baking dish with cocoa, you're gonna wanna add in some boiling water to activate that cocoa, and it makes it super chocolatey. So I'm gonna make some really loud noise here with the mixer because the whisk will only take us so far. But while I do that, I hear, Miss Michaela, that you like to sing.
I do.
Can you sing louder than a mixer?
Maybe. We'll see.
Let's try that out. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Set. Sing.
Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade.
Michaela was born on April 11th, 2007, weighing only 4 pounds, 9 ounces because she was 5.5 weeks early. She was always an amazing little girl. She loves to sing. She loves just to be happy. Since middle school, Michaela's just loved being in theater and singing. Being in theater and chorus has brought out an amazing confidence in her that she didn't always have. She's almost 13 and she's definitely a typical teenager, but she's always just smiling and she hasn't let her illness bring her down. Everyone has bad days, but she's always trying to stay positive and she's just always smiling. She's my inspiration because if she can get through this at 11 and 12 years old, I know I can get through anything.
I simply gotta march my heart to drama. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade.
Perfection. Not just this cake, but you too.
Thank you.
Honey, that was beautiful. How long have you been singing?
This is my 4th year.
Oh, you are so super talented.
Thank you.
I love it. So does the POTS, that's what you call, right? The syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called POTS for short. And does it get in the way of you singing? Like you have to catch your breath or do you have to?
One of my main symptoms is actually shortness of breath. So when I'm singing and I'm using a lot of breath for high notes or belting, it gets a lot harder and I get shakier sometimes and weak.
Oh.
So there are times, it doesn't have to happen often anymore because I've kind of like learned how to get better breath support.
Control that a little bit more.
But it does happen in chorus sometimes, so I'll just go to the clinic and check.
Okay. You're just so bright and fun and brilliant and talented. I'm just so grateful and honored that you're here today.
Thank you.
So now we're gonna see what else you can do. Let's bring out our cupcake holders. There we go. And if you don't mind, put the cupcake holders into each of the cupcake slots. And then I have a handy dandy scooper. It's very, very easy to use. And I'm gonna scoop our batter. Very simple. I'm gonna make a big mess because that's what you do when you have chocolate. You wanna fill your cupcake holders about 3/4 of the way full. And because of all that baking soda and baking powder, it's gonna make them super fluffy. And you're gonna preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake them for about 18 to 21 minutes. You always wanna stick your toothpick in there and make sure it comes out clean. And we will see you guys when our cupcakes are baked. Michaela, our cupcakes are baked and they smell delicious.
They do, and I love cupcakes, and I'm like,
You're super excited. There's only one thing we could do to make these delicious smelling cupcakes even more delicious-er. And that is to put some icing on the cake. I'm gonna make a cocoa buttercream icing to give you even more chocolate. I know you love chocolate.
I know, and my mom's not gonna like this afterwards.
Your mom's not gonna like it? Oh, that's okay. We won't tell mom, even though she's sitting over there. So I'm gonna make a cocoa buttercream frosting. This is a great recipe because a basic buttercream you can make into any flavor you want. But today, because Michaela happens to love chocolate, we're gonna make it super duper chocolatey. So I have some shortening here, just a 1/2 cup. So we put equal parts of shortening and softened butter. Makes it yummy. So this is no longer, the icing is not dairy-free, but you can use a dairy-free butter if you need to keep your whole cupcake dairy-free. And then we take our powdered sugar. Now this is something that takes a little bit of time because you want to make your icing nice and smooth. Lots of noise, lots of good sounds. So while I mix in our powdered sugar, which is 4.5 cups, why don't you tell me a little bit more about the POTS and how it affects you?
Well, about 4 years ago now,
Okay.
I went to North Carolina over a summer, and I ended up getting really sick with a viral infection. I lost my voice. I felt so nauseous all the time.
Oh.
So I went to the doctor with my uncle, and they said that there was nothing I could do because it was a viral infection. But I get home and we go to my doctor because I still wasn't better after like 2 weeks. We go to my doctor and he gives me antibiotics and it goes away after a week, the day before school starts. And so I'm good to go back to school.
Of course. It could have kept you out of school for a little while.
I know, right?
Jeez. Nasty pots.
Yeah. And then so I go to school and I'm just feeling drowsy all the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling good. So after that, I got tonsillitis really bad.
Oh, so you just kept getting...
I did. I couldn't catch a break. I went through so many doctors to get diagnosed with just tonsillitis. And they said that, oh, it's just a viral infection, the swelling in her tonsils will go down.
But is POTS usually difficult to
It is.
diagnose?
It's very difficult to diagnose. A lot of people, it can take on average 6 years to get diagnosed.
Oh my goodness.
So I was lucky to get diagnosed after 3.5.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
so I went back to school after winter break. And I got worse. I wasn't feeling good. I was not eating. I was losing weight and I wasn't gaining it back. We went to a doctor again and she said, oh, she's just stressed.
They came up with everything under the sun except for
They
the one
did.
thing that you had.
Because a lot of doctors actually have never even heard of the condition. And it's very hard to find someone who specializes. So we went to the hospital and there was a lady behind us like waiting to get checked in with her daughter in the children's section. And she goes, hey, I'm not trying to eavesdrop, but I heard her symptoms. Look up this syndrome called POTS. It might be because of the blacking out and all of the...
So there was somebody in the hospital, not...
Just a patient.
Just a patient, not
Yeah.
a doctor, not a nurse.
She said, look up POTS because that could most likely be what it is. It was really frustrating not knowing what was going on and no one being able to help us because there was nothing they could do.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. So what happened? How did you get diagnosed?
So eventually we went to Nemours because we figured it's pediatrics, they can help. So they sent us to Arnold Palmer Hospital and said, okay, you're gonna get an MRI with a neurologist and you're going to do more tests, but it's going to be what's gonna help.
Okay, so then you got all the tests, you're done with all of this, and they finally say,
You have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
okay, they can say that, you can say that, I ain't gonna say that. But we'll call it POTS, and I'm so glad that you got diagnosed, because even though I'm sorry that you have that, but once you actually get a diagnosis, it gives you the ability to learn about it and to learn how to help yourself instead of just going for test after test after test. So I'm super glad that you found that out.
It was a big relief and like the weight was lifted.
Oh, good, good. Well, speaking of weight, how about we gain a little?
Yes.
And eat some chocolate with chocolate cupcakes.
Yes.
So I made this cocoa buttercream frosting. It is absolutely divine. And all I did was I took this icing bag, and you don't even have to have these special tools. You could take a Ziploc bag from your house, cut it out. You don't even need a fancy tip like I have. But since this is what I do, make lots of noise, we have these fancy tips. So I put it in a cup to hold it for me so I could put all this good, big, yummy icing in it. And you know what? We have an entire crew here who has worked so hard for us today. So what I'm gonna do as I'm icing these delicious cupcakes is I am gonna invite my crew from behind the camera to come on up here and enjoy. I see you guys drooling. I know you want these cupcakes. So come on up. I'm gonna ice these really super quick. Come on, guys. Have yourself a chocolate cupcake with cocoa buttercream frosting. Don't be shy, come on. I know you're used to being behind the camera, but we got you in front of it today. Grab yourselves a cupcake, start passing them out. And we're so glad that you guys came and watched us bake today. And if you want more information on POTS, make sure you click the link that we provided below and get in your kitchens and bake. Here you go. You want to try it? Oh, you've been so patient. Dig in, dig in. Did you get one? Okay. Wait, guys, I want to try. Ready? Here we go. Up, cheers. She already ate. That is so good. You have it all over your nose. Thank you, guys. Take care of yourselves. Don't forget to take care of each other.